I'm going to bring the 2016 organizational meeting to order. The first order of business is roll call. Brennan?
Here.
Sharpren?
Here.
Dahlhoff?
Here.
Hathaway?
Here.
King?
Here.
Colzer?
Here.
Mowerhand? Here. Mosier?
Here.
Fawcett?
Here.
Table.
Here.
And now I would ask County Clerk Linda Hoskins if she would administer the oath of office to each legislator, please.
You're the only woman here.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Andrea Moorhan,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United
and the
States
Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office as legislator
as the office as legislator
in and for the County of Lewis,
in and for the County of Lewis,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Richard Sharpren,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office as legislator
of the office as legislator
in and for the County of Lewis according
in and for the County of Lewis according
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Would you like me what to do?
Actually, I do.
Okay. I state your name.
I, Gregory Colzer,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office as legislator
of the office of legislator
in and for the County of Lewis,
in and for the County of Lewis,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I state your name.
I, Craig Brennan,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office as legislator
of the office of legislator
in and for the County of Lewis,
in and for the County of Lewis,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. Thanks.
You say the best for
Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, North Hall,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office as legislator
of the office as legislator
in and for the County of Lewis,
in and for the County of Lewis,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
I state your name.
I, Jerry King,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York.
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
I will faithfully discharge my duties
of the office as legislator
of the office as legislator
in and for the County of Lewis,
and as for the County of Lewis,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
I state your name.
I, Brian Mosier,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New
and
York,
the Constitution of New York State.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office as legislator
of the office as legislator
and for the County of Lewis,
and for the County of Lewis,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
I state your name.
I, Roscoe K. Fawcett Jr.,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of New York State,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office as legislator
of the office of legislator
in and for the county of Lewis,
in and for the county of Lewis,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Yes, I state your name.
I state your name.
I knew somebody was gonna do that.
I, Phil Hathaway,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office as legislator
of the office of legislator
in and for the county of Lewis,
in and for the county of Lewis,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
I state your name.
I, Michael Table,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I support the Constitution of the United States
that I support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of New York
and
State,
the Constitution of New York State,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office as
of
legislator
the office of legislator
in and for the county of Lewis,
in and for the county of Lewis,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Mr. Ralphie. I would open the floor for nominations of a temporary chair.
I would like to nominate Richard Chartrand, temporary chair.
Is there a second? Are there any other nominations? If not, I would ask for a motion to close the polls and cast a unanimous ballot for legislator Chartrand.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Could I have legislators Causer and Andrea Marhan escort Dick to the chair?
Take me up there, Dick.
Okay, great, and thank you all fellow legislators for your vote of confidence, and this is what they call working across the table. All please stand.
Legislator Hathaway, would you?
Father, as always, we thank you for the blessings you bestow upon us. We don't always acknowledge them, but you always come through for us. And actually, we even thank you for the snow. It's important to our area. It's what we are, and we appreciate that as well. We would ask, there's been several loved ones that have passed in the last month. We would ask that you would help their families, give them strength to get through the difficult times. And we would ask you to help those that need a healing hand. Reach down and touch them, help them through, Lord. As always, we ask you for good guidance, and you give it to us. And personally, I would like to thank you for the working relationship that this board has. You've blessed us, and we appreciate that as well. Could we have a moment of silence for those that have passed since the last meeting? Thank you. Amen.
Please say the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd now like to open the floor for nominations for permanent chairman.
I would like to make a motion that we appoint Mike Table as our next chairman for 2016.
And is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and if I can have have a vote by a show of hands, please? Please let the record show it was unanimous. I would ask Legislator Hathaway and Legislator Rocky to escort the new chairman, Mike, to the stand.
Oh, Mike.
Okay, which way, Phil? The dragon.
I don't want to see it. You're fighting.
Hey,
Congratulations.
good job, Dick. Thank you.
Thanks for the long nose.
Thank you. I have a few notes myself. Thank you for the expression of confidence you have shown in reappointing myself as chairman. A healthy fund balance, huge economic opportunities on the horizon, and a stable tax rate have placed Lewis County in a desirable position. Our efforts for renewable energy include wind farms, hydro projects, and now a solar project. An environmentally friendly parking lot at DSS, and a renewed recycling campaign all will have a positive effect on our environment, and I'm sure they will be much appreciated by future generations. We have made strides in improving our relationship with state representatives, town and village officials. I am certain that all of these positive results were no fluke or accident. Considerable thought and diligent planning by legislators and dedicated county employees have created an atmosphere that we can all be proud of. However, there's much more that we can accomplish. Seeing the Heinz Craft expansion through completion and increasing educational opportunities for Lewis County residents should rank high on everyone's priority list. I would like to see our joint meetings with the hospital board members continue. Furthermore, I would also encourage regular informative sessions with the IDA board members. It is no secret, communication and understanding have always been an important component for success. In closing, I'll leave you with another interesting quote attributed to many people, and especially more recently the past President Ronald Reagan. He said, "Great things can be accomplished when it doesn't matter who gets the credit." Move on to business. All right, at this point, we'll take nominations for clerk of the board.
Mr. Chairman, I would nominate Terry Clark.
Okay, we'll move by Craig to nominate Terry Clark, a second by Jerry. Do we have any other nominations for clerk to the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion to have unanimous, Secretary Cassie unanimous ballot for Terry Clark. Moved by Phil, second by Larry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Terry will be the clerk. And at this point, I'll ask Linda Hoskins to administer the oath to Terry.
Thank you all for your continued confidence in me. Appreciate it. I, Teresa Clark,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office as clerk of the board
as the office of Clerk of the Board
in and for the County of Lewis,
in and for the County of Lewis,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Terry. Thank you, Linda. Now, I believe every legislator should have received the appointments to their committees. Hoping that most of the people are satisfied and will do well. I'm sure they'll do well in their respective committees. Later on, we'll be talking about the preferred schedule for when you'd like to have them, so we can get into that later. Everyone should have got a copy of the December 22nd meeting. Is there any corrections to that? They know. If not, they stand approved. Report of the Rules and Legislation Committee for Rule 6.
The Rules and Legislation Committee has met, and they recommend to waive the rules to act upon late resolutions this evening.
Moved by Craig, second by Brian. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. At this time, we go to privilege of the floor. Is there any comment from the public at this time? Okay, we'll move along to presentation and communications and notices. Terry?
Fire and Emergency Management Director Robert McKenzie III has informed his appointment of Richard Ross, Gary Ashline, Robert Bellinger, Joseph Shue, Richard DeFone, and Father Chris Carrara as deputy fire coordinators, and EMS deputies Mark Tuttle, Steve Monnet, David Cull, and David Penzick for 2016. All legislators have received copies of the Treasurer's December 2015 report, the Real Property Tax Director's 2015 annual report, and the December 22nd Solid Waste Audit Report. The Republican and Democratic legislators have designated the Watertown Daily Times as their official newspaper for 2016. And that concludes reports.
Thank you, Terry. Now reports of county officers and departments. Terry?
That is it. That's the end of reports.
Okay. We'll move to standing committees then. Phil, would you like to start out with the Ways and Means, Buildings and Grounds?
Well, certainly, no problem. Well, I'd like to start out by saying that, telling you something that Patty wouldn't say for herself, but our bond rating in 2013 and 2014 was an A, which is very, very good, but in 15 it got upgraded to A+, and the report was very complimentary of the way that we handle things, and it's with Patty's guidance that we do that. So thank you, Patty. As always, in our meeting, we talked about solar. That would be the 18th meeting, we talked about solar. It would be on 19th and 20th as it's going, but we did get the PSB water pressure report, and we were very happy to find that they have more than adequate pressure up there, so everything is good up there. Now we'll proceed with engineering for potentially a new system that of servicing it. Parking lot, DSS parking lot, we'll have 4 or 5 items that will be completed in the spring, but the latest budget from BCNA, they tell us that the lot should cost, county cost of $285,496, which we had budgeted $310, so we're under budget on that. And we've been able to utilize all but $1,500 of the grant money that we got, which is really good too. Liz told us that the CDBG did not get awarded. That was what we had set aside $125,000 for the Village of Lowville upgrades, and that did not get awarded, so that goes back into the general fund. And the last thing I have, last meeting we authorized Frank Archer to purchase 2 vehicles, 2 trucks, and now we want to allow him to buy a plow for the F-250. It turned out that the person that they bought the truck from on state bid had the best bid on the plow. So I'd like to make a motion to authorize Frank to spend $5,578.20 on a plow for the new F-250 that he's going to get.
Moved by Phil, second by Craig. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
That's it.
Thank you, Phil. Rocky, welcome aboard. I know you'll be chairing the DSS committee, the Employment and Training Office of the Aging and Youth. And you did attend the previous meetings. Do you have any comments or anything you'd like to?
Not at this time. I'm just looking forward to working with all of you.
Very good. Thank you, Rocky. The first thing we gotta do is teach you how to use the microphone. You'll get the hang of it. It gets easier as you go along. Brian, you'll remain County Officers, Veterans, HR. You have a report at this meeting?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No report, veterans and junkyard. And the only thing I want to say on the HR end is I appreciate everyone's patience with allowing us to go through the process and staying consistent with how we go about hiring and stuff. There was still questions brought up that the committees hadn't thought of that were quite relevant. So I appreciate everyone's patience, departments and everything with your patience.
Very good. Thank you, Brian. Jerry, you will remain Courts and Law.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a motion to authorize Sheriff Carpinelli to refill one vacant full-time dispatcher / correction officer and one vacant full-time deputy sheriff's position effective immediately. So I'd like to make that a motion.
So we have a motion by Jerry to refill 2 positions. Do we have a second? Second by Greg. Any discussion on the motion? Brian?
Don't we have, what do we need an motion for that for? We have the resolutions in our packet, don't we? For the
No,
2
those-
positions?
there's no resolutions for those, they weren't needed. It's just refilling positions that are existing.
Oh, okay, I just didn't understand why we need a motion and a resolution. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
And I have one other motion, Mr. Chairman. Motion to authorize County Attorney Joe McNichols to refill a full-time secretary to Assistant County Attorney's position effective January 11th, 2016. And I'd like to make that a motion also.
Okay, motion by Jerry to refill a position. Is there a second? Second by Phil. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Started tearing the main dispatch out. Cheryl's office where all the phone equipment and stuff was, the old phone system's gone out. They're in the process of remodeling that, and they have half the dispatch center out now. The other consoles remaining because it's controlling the doors. They'll go ahead, the door company that's gonna do the programs for the computers and stuff. He's got the computers. I think Adam's got the server freed up for them to go ahead and program all that stuff. And it's roughly a month. They're working at nights during set hours, and once they get it set up, the last thing they'll do is pull that last console out, rewire the doors, and hopefully within a month they'll be up and running. One of the things we've started, because we've made changes to pagers and also the radio, we have a form now that's going to be dispersed to everybody, like fire departments, sheriff's department, wherever. And if a person experiences a problem, that we can document it, so when we start changing stuff or tweaking, we have a little better handle on what the end results is, and we'll probably be doing more testing as we make those changes to make sure it doesn't affect other people adversely. That's all I have right now, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Larry, you remain Economic Development.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do not have an actual report, but I do have a couple of motions here. Motion to authorize Planning Director Frank Pace to refill the full-time planner position effective immediately due to a resignation.
Moved by Larry, second by Jerry. Any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And also a motion to authorize Office for Aging Director Brenda Burgoyes, am I saying that correctly? To refill the full-time Nutrition Services Coordinator position effective immediately due to a resignation effective January 31st, 2016.
Okay, we have a motion to refill, second by Brian. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And that's the end of my report, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Move on to Craig. Craig, you were on the transportation, you will be taxation IT. Do you have a report on either one at this moment?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman, nothing to report.
Okay. Greg, you're the former IT, now the transportation. Do you have any report at this meeting?
Yes, I have a motion. Motion to authorize real property tax director Candy Aiken to temporarily fill the real property system specialist and senior keyboard specialist positions due to the promotion of Betsy Bolivar to the temporary system specialist position. Basically, they're basically Betsy Bolivar, the keyboard specialist, is moving up to the system specialist, which Candy left when she became director.
How come they're temporary?
Because there's a list.
Oh,
They
okay.
there's civil service positions, so they have to pass the test.
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion by Greg, second by Craig. Further discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I don't have any more to report from that department. I'd like to thank both Linda and Adam for doing good jobs while I was here, made it life easy. Adam did a good job saving money all the way around, so hopefully Craig will keep that going. Thanks.
Thank-
I won't have to.
Thanks, Greg. Dick from the hospital. Dick will remain on the hospital board.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a couple of things, and we're going to have a joint meeting of the Board of Managers and the Board of Legislators this Friday at 9 o'clock, I believe. I'm not sure if everybody heard that yet, but I think there was a survey done, and at least 8 out of 10 of us can make that. There's going to be a resolution in the packet tonight to create a full-time nurse manager utilization review case manager position. And along with that, there's the abolishment of 2 positions, 1 full-time utilization review senior RN and one full-time nurse manager. This is management's decision up there and how to reduce some of the overhead and combine some of the supervisory jobs, which we've kind of been looking to do. And this will be one of the first ones to start us down that path, so I encourage you to support that later on tonight. We've got a new system going up there called telepsychiatry program, and it's through St. Joe's, and you'll get more of this on Friday as well. But they have it as part of the sleep lab, and you'll be talking with a doctor from St. Joe's, and it's part of the coming future. St. Joe's been doing this now since 2013, and we're just bringing it into the North Country now. As we heard earlier tonight, there was some concern about travel and stuff. This may be something that might alleviate some of our folks' concerns of travel, especially in the winter up here. The only difference between that and your doctor is he's not in the room with you, but he's there face-to-face with you on television. He can see you, you see him, and you go over all the symptoms and everything. Phil, you look like you got a question.
Could this be a pathway to not just psychiatric, but other services like that could be supplied from the clinics?
That's correct, yes, it can be, and then...
Is that the intent?
That's the intent, yes, yeah, and they're gonna work it in next with the sleep lab because the equipment's down in that area with some of those people, because a lot of our sleep lab stuff is coming out of Fort Drum now, and with, I'm not a doctor, but with the PTSD that the soldiers are getting, you need a different person doing the sleep lab analysis because it's more in their brain than it is in some of the other types with the sleep lab. And they'll be able to talk to either representative doctor at that time. So, and it will expand, I'm sure it is. In the meantime, right now, appointments may be scheduled at the hospital on Wednesdays between the hours of 8:30 and 11:30 with a Dr. Rodriguez. And Dr. Rodriguez is a graduate of Texas Medical Branch, and he's the St. Joe's doctor that's going to be in charge of this program. Patients can contact the Lewis County General Hospital at 315-376-5798 to make a telepsychiatry appointment with the St. Joe's physician. And then additionally, let me just ask Liz a question first. This is on IGT.
Yeah.
Are you going to talk that when it
Patty's
gets to you?
gonna cover it.
Okay. I'll save this one until Patty talks about it. And I think that's all I've got at this time, Chairman. Thank you.
Very good, Dick, thank you. And we go to Andrea. Andrea, you are named Chair of the Public Health Community Services Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing new to report tonight.
Okay, very good. If that's the case, we'll move to the county manager, Liz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of quick things. We're going to be setting up our kickoff meetings with the Tyler and Eunice people who are the software vendor replacing our IFM system. We're putting the finishing touches on a new conference room, which is directly behind this wall. It will be consumed by our team for a good part of the year, but I think we'll find that having the extra conference room will be an asset because we seem to run short on space here quite a bit. One addition I wanted to make to Jerry's comments, we did have a meeting of the radio committee. There was a citizen that was requesting that we repurpose old county radios that we're not going to be using in the new system for ham radio operators. We met with the radio committee and I subsequently sent a letter back to him stating that we would definitely consider it. We understand the importance of the ham radio operators in the county, but we wanted to wait until we reach full set system acceptance next summer, and then we would reconvene and meet with him at that point. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is I did send out to all the legislators and all the department heads the NISAC policy issues. These are the issues that NISAC has prioritized as what they are going to be advocating for at the state level. As you know, this budget season is gearing up in Albany. As we go through the committee meetings in January and February, I've asked the department heads that if there is something of importance to them, to bring it up at their committees. So if there is something that we as a legislative board want to do and advocate going forward, we can at least have those discussions and send those priorities forward. That's all, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Very good, Liz, thank you. Patty, treasurer's report?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I handed out the report of all the balances. These are going to be as of 12/31/2015, so it's not the new account balances. Legislative contingency is $85,359. Regular contingency is $291,210.42. Capital data processing has a balance of $141,441. Capital equipment is $249,052 for the county, and the highway has $15,214. Sales tax, again, we're still well above our budgeted figure, and I'm curious to see what the last quarter's going to do, but I'm confident that we will make our budget. Hospital made all of their payments for 2015 as they said they would, and internal service fund still tends to be a slight problem. We did have a slight gain in November with the 15% increase, but as you can see, we're still behind the 8 ball there, but hopefully we'll start to gain. And I wanted to mention, yesterday we received a letter from the Department of Health for the IGT payment for the hospital. It's going to be the hospital IGT, which it's for 15-16, and that amount was $1,646,000. But there was an adjustment back from 2012 for $461,000. So the total amount they're going to receive on the 21st of January is $1,224,000. So the county share will be the $612,114, and that's all budgeted, and we have that money there. And that's all I have. Oh,
When did you say they're gonna get that, Patty?
they're going to get it on January 21st.
Was that like an overpayment?
The 416, yeah, the 421, yes. It was, and it's an adjustment to what they did pay us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Patty. For my report, I have a couple of dates to make you aware of. I did receive an invitation to attend the State of the State address in our home will give January 13 in Albany. It's 12:30, and from my past experience, I see that sometimes there is other tickets available. So if there is any legislator that would like to go, or anyone for that matter, there's sometimes ways of getting an invitation, so let me know. I'd try to make it myself, or be bad to take someone else if you're interested.
When is that?
January 13th. It's at 12:30. And of course, the other dates, I make sure everyone's aware of. We have our inter-county meeting here in Lewis County on January 28th. And of course, the NISAC convention, February 1st through 3rd. With that, I'll move on to a report of the Ways and Means Committee for Rule 7.
The Ways and Means Committee reports they have examined the claims presented for payment in the total amount of $393,807.18 and recommend that they be audited and allowed for the amounts claimed.
Moved by Phil, second by Craig. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The first resolution then is auditing and allowing the claims for $393,807.18.
Moved by Phil, second by Larry. Roll call vote. Terry?
Brennan,
Yes.
Chartrand,
Yes.
Dahlhoff,
Yes.
Hathaway,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Causer,
Yes.
Mowerhand,
Yes.
Mosier,
Yes.
Fawcett,
Yes.
Tabo.
Yes.
Adopting standing rules for 2016.
Moved by Jerry, second by Craig. Discussion? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
With reference to Vice Chair of the Board, to appoint legislator Larry Dahlhoff.
Moved by Phil, second by Dick. Discussion? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Appointing member of the Agriculture Society Board.
Moved by Brian, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Approving the form and the amount of blanket undertaking covering officers, clerks, and employees of the county.
Moved by Jerry, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Waiving the need for a surety bond on the part of the chairman of the Board of Legislators.
Moved by Jerry, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing public hearing for Lewis County Direct Home Ownership Assistance Program, CDBG project.
Moved by Larry, second by Phil. Discussion? Dick?
This is the same one, a new one for the one that got just turned down?
This is a home ownership one.
This is the home ownership one, this is a little bit.
The one that got turned down was
Was the Main Street.
Main Street.
Main
Yeah.
Street, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments on the resolution? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between county and New York State Housing Trust Fund Corporation.
Moved by Jerry, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Appointing certifying officer for the environmental review for the Community Development Block Grant Program.
Moved by Larry, second by Craig. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Appoint member to Community Mental Health, Developmental Disabilities, and Alcoholism Services Board.
Moved by Phil, second by Larry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Appointing member to Cooperative Extension Board of Directors.
Moved by Jerry, second by Craig. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Reappointing Lewis County Attorney and authorizing employment agreement.
Moved by Phil, second by Rocky. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Reappointing Lewis County Manager and authorizing employment agreement.
Moved by Phil, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Designation of depositories for 2016.
Moved by Craig, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing Fire Advisory Board and providing for payment of allowable expenses.
Moved by Jerry, second by Greg. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Appointing member to Region 6 Fish and Wildlife Management Board.
Moved by Brian, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Appointing member to New York Region 6 Forest Practice Board.
Moved by Rocky, second by Craig. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To extend authorization to Canna RX Services as Lewis County Health Insurance Plan vendor.
Moved by Larry, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Amending compensation plan with reference to Department of Highways.
Moved by Dick, second by Craig. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Amending compensation plan with reference to Department of Highways.
Moved by Craig, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Appointing auditor of county highway funds and solid waste enterprise fund.
Moved by Jerry, second by Dick. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Appointing member to North Country Home Consortium Board.
Moved by Larry, second by Dick. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Appointing member to Lewis County General Hospital Board of Managers.
Moved by Phil, second by Andrea. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Appointing member to Inter-County Legislative Committee of the Adirondacks.
Moved by Jerry, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between the county and Office for the Aging and Melissa Forney.
Moved by Andrea, second by Rocky. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Amending compensation plan with reference to Office for the Aging.
Moved by Andrea, second by Rocky. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Appointing member to Lewis County Planning Board.
Moved by Brian, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 28 has been withdrawn. It was an error. Appointing member to Public Health Professional Advisory Health Services Committee.
Moved by Brian, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing discharge of mortgage, Dwayne St. Louis.
Moved by Phil, second by Larry. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate snowmobile trail program 2015-16 season.
Moved by Larry, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between Social Services and Lifeline Systems.
Moved by Andrea, second by Rocky. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between DSS and LifeNet Stat Communications.
Moved by Rocky, second by Andrea. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between DSS and Natasha's Kitty Shack Daycare.
Moved by Andrea, second by Rocky. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between DSS and Lewis County Opportunities.
Moved by Andrea, second by Rocky. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing an agreement between DSS and the Center of Lifelong Education and Recreation at SUNY Tuxton.
Moved by Andrea, second by Rocky. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carried.
Appointing member to Youth Bureau Advisory Board.
Moved by Andrea, second by Phil. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carried.
Late resolutions, number 38, appointing members to Lewis County Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy Committee.
Moved by Jerry, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carried.
Amending compensation plan with reference to Lewis County General Hospital.
Moved by Andrea, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appoint members to Soil and Water Conservation District Board of Directors.
Moved by Brian, second by Craig. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carried.
To appoint representative to New York State DEC Open Space Committee.
Moved by Brian, second by Phil. Discussion?
This says we can have two. Do we have another one, or would Greg be the only one?
We have Frank Archer on it right now.
Okay.
He is your representative.
Other comments? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carried.
That concludes resolutions.
Do you have any other business to come before the meeting? Bill?
I'd like to just suggest something. Mike, as you recall, a few years ago, when we had a real difficult budget year, we kind of did a road tour. And it was really well received, and I've kind of, heard it brought up again, why don't we do that? Not necessarily on a budget, but have a meeting in other areas. And I think it's a good idea, and we could do a regular meeting, or maybe have a special interim meeting or whatever, and go to different locations and do it, maybe 2 or 3 places a year, something like that. And actually, I'd even suggest that we go to maybe 3 places this year: Lions Falls, West Leyden, and Copenhagen. But it's just a suggestion. There's not really a committee to handle that, so that's probably you and Larry figure that out, whether you want to do it or not. But
Well, certainly open to the idea, so yeah, I'd be glad to hear comments from legislators. Sounds very interesting.
Take the actual board meeting there.
yes.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Or even just have a special board meeting, that those budget hearings, and it was a difficult thing, I mean, we were telling them bad stuff, but they really appreciated the interface with us, and they got to ask a lot of questions, and maybe it would be just middle of the month open forum type thing, or however we might want to structure it, It's just kind of reaching out to people. People on Lions Falls and West Leyden are not going to come here, and I don't necessarily blame them. And probably you're the only one who'll come from Copenhagen. But I think
There's no guarantee there.
I kind of like those 3 spots to start anyway. But however we might want to do it.
I don't know how it work out logistically for Adam. I think it's a great idea because it's showing the constituents that we are representing all of them in the county, not just our own district.
I'm not, are we talking budget meetings now?
No.
Regular
board
No,
meeting.
I'm talking a board meeting or a special
Or a
board
special.
I
meeting.
like that idea.
Not budget.
Dick, comment?
Yeah, Phil, I think it's a good idea, and I think it might work real well. I'm getting comments also that quite a few people are viewing our meetings online that the camera's doing too, so I think coupling the two together would be a good idea.
And what time are you gonna plan on, any thought of time? So you're looking at like 6 or 7 o'clock versus 5 o'clock, so that people who actually wanna come can come? You know, people who work till 5 aren't gonna make a 5 o'clock meeting.
I really hadn't thought about time, to be honest with you.
I mean, if you start looking at how Jefferson County handles theirs starts at 7, their board meetings. So that way the general public who worked until 4:30 or 5 o'clock can actually come and attend the meeting if they'd like
But when we had those budget meetings, it was at 6:30.
at night.
Yeah.
That'd be fine. Just give the public. a
Sounds
chance.
doable. Sounds like we're getting some positive comments already.
Sounds good.
Okay, we'll set something up.
It was fun.
All right, any other?
6 o'clock, at 6 o'clock work for everybody?
If we're down in West Lighton, 6 o'clock works a lot better for me than 7, that's for sure.
You may have to leave at 3 to get there by 6.
Jerry said he's got room, you could bump.
Yeah?
I'm not sure you can get to West Lighton from Diana, to be honest with you. I did it once, I guess I can do it again.
You can, but it's not easy.
No. Hopefully you're talking about summer months too.
Definitely.
Mosquitoes?
I may have a house full one night.
That's another good point. All right,
Mike, I just have some announcements.
go ahead, Terry.
Chairman Table has made the following appointments for the term of January 1 of 16 to December 31 of 17. Legislators Richard Chartrand, Andrea Marahan, and Brian Mosier to the Corporate Compliance Ad Hoc Committee. Legislator Richard Chartrand is the board representative to the Adirondack Park Local Government Review Board. Legislator Craig Brennan to the Agriculture and Farmland Protection Board. Legislator Jerry King to the Law Library Trustee Committee. And legislators Larry Dahlhoff and Craig Brennan to the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy Committee. And that concludes.
Mike, we used to have that compliance training once a year, right? Do we still have to have compliance training as a
Yes.
board?
Yes.
Or watch the video?
Yeah, we're going to try to do the same thing, have the video available if people can't make the actual meeting.
Other questions, or we do have a executive session to talk about some contract matters. Anyone else have any other business before I request that motion?
There was some mention earlier before our meeting about changing some of the committee times and days and stuff. Is that something we do here? You want to do an executive?
I don't know if we have to do an executive session, but it's a kind of a case where we have to make it work, and Terry has volunteered to coordinate a schedule that
I was
would
going to put
work.
it
So
right. And
I would encourage the chairman to make their suggestions on what day or time they'd like to meet, and thankfully Terry's willing to coordinate that. So if you'd stop in the office anytime, very soon, probably rather than later would help, so. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, can we have a motion to go into executive session at this time?
So
Moved by Craig, second by Jerry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We will be in executive session after a 5-minute recess.